Hey guys, what's up? I am currently on tour in Europe right now, and I got some exciting news. I have got more shows to announce. This tour is never ending. I am going to more cities in the US, okay? I am going to Salt Lake City, Denver, Phoenix, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Nashville, Indianapolis, Columbus, Cleveland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Seattle, Portland, St. Louis, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. Guys, tickets are available right now, so I think you should Folks, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I open the TikTok application on my portable telephone, I am absolutely bombarded with slideshow after slideshow of nostalgic images from my childhood that never fail to ruin my entire day. Whether it's pictures of strangely designed early 2000s websites, old digital camera photographs of the original Xbox accompanied by Mountain Dew bottles with the hashtag #OlderBrotherCore, discontinued foods, or old dead malls stuck in the past. It's a nightmare! I open TikTok thinking I'm gonna see a nice relaxing video of a guy getting hit by a car, but then I'm reminded of the ceaseless passage of time. Cringe, I said. Regardless of how sad and old these nostalgic horror videos make me feel, I still watch every single one to the very end. I have to. I can't look away, dude. It's like a car crash that I was hoping I would see on TikTok. And after watching like literally hundreds of these TikToks and comparing my childhood to the modern day, I've come to realize something. Everything's kind of boring now. And I don't mean the, throw a tennis ball at the wall, twiddle your thumbs type of boring. It's quite literally the opposite somehow. Boredom used to be like, oh man, there's nothing to do. But I honestly cannot remember the last time I felt like that. The traditional feeling of boredom has been replaced by this like overwhelming feeling of there being like too many things to do. But at the same time, none of the things we're doing to fill the time are like enjoyable or personally fulfilling whatsoever. It just sort of feels like everything lately has kind of been given the landlord special, Because everything's been covered with a boring coat of white paint, no thought behind it, no forethought into the future or any of the consequences. And lately, dude, I've been feeling like a cockroach that got in the way of the paintbrush, forever stuck in a sea of white. Just like your mom. Got you. Whether it's logos, cars, tech, movies, architecture, everything has become so muted and bland and colorless. And personally, I think it's super boring. I'll say off top, it's gonna be impossible for me to not sound like a boomer throughout this entire video, but I swear to God, I remember everything being so much more vibrant and colorful and saturated when I was growing up, and I'm not alone. You can find countless videos of people comparing old photographs to current ones, and things do seem less colorful now. Obviously, for a few of these videos, there are some logical explanations. Like this one, for example, like this picture from 2020 was taken on a clear sunny day, and the one taken in 2024 is it's a cloudy day. So, obviously the one taken on the cloudy day is going to be less bright and colorful, right? I think this person just doesn't know how weather works. Damn. Back when I was a kid, there was never a tornado happening right now. Back when I was a kid, I was never getting swept away in a tornado. But for this video, I kind of just want to do a deep dive and really get to the bottom of this, okay? I want to find out if the world is actually getting less colorful. So let's find out. At first, I assumed people were saying the world is less colorful now because they were looking through rose-colored glasses. Not literally, because that would do the opposite, but, just in terms of nostalgia, it's very easy to romanticize your childhood, even if you had an uneventful one. You just had less things to worry about when you were younger, and everything was new and exciting. So obviously, when you look back at those times, you come to the conclusion that things were more exciting than they actually were. Like, for example, if you're 4 years old, the color blue is gonna be fucking insane to you, dude, because you've only known about the color blue for 4 years. You know how many times I've seen the color blue now that I'm 30, dude? Too many times to count, dude. Blue is not the same anymore. I have ruined blue for myself, okay? I blew it. You know that meme of James Franco about to be hung, and he's like, first time? That's me at any child being impressed by the color blue.
First time.
But it turns out it may not be rose-colored glasses and the wave of nostalgia that makes people feel this way. There actually is a scientific explanation as to why the world looks less colorful as you get older.
If you feel like the world has gone from 4K to 1080p, you may be onto something. After the age of 10, the clear human lens gradually yellows as a result of absorbing UV light to protect the retina at the back of the eye. This increasing yellowness dulls the vibrancy of color perception.
Okay, so as you get older, I guess things tend to appear more yellow than they actually are. Pretty interesting. That explains why my white bed sheets are yellow when I wake up.
This, combined with the fact that the number and sensitivity of color detecting cone cells decrease, further affects color contrast.
Even without the natural deterioration of our eyeballs, I still think the world is getting less colorful. And I know this because I actually have perfect vision. Sorry to brag, but I am exempt from all vision problems. I took a vision healing masterclass last year and I stared directly at the sun, so I think I'll be A-okay.
Hey, the camera, it's over here. Fucking idiot. Jesus fucking Christ.
So I think I'll be
stupid.
A-okay. Guys, you're not gonna believe this, okay? It isn't just our eyes becoming weaker. The world actually has been losing color over the past 50 years. The Science Museum Group conducted a study where they photographed over 7,000 various objects from the 1800s to present day in 21 different categories, and this was their result. From 1800 to 1840, there was a pretty even spread of black, gray, white, red, orange, and yellows. And then in the year 1860, as everybody knows, the colors blue and green were invented, so they slowly gained popularity over the years. But as you can see in the full graph, there's a pretty drastic drop-off in color in around the year 1980, and then an even more drastic one in the year 2000. And as you can see here, in the last 20 years, objects have been rapidly enveloped by this foreboding grayness. And it's scary, man. How do we stop it? Am I supposed to just pray the gray away? Dude, we know that doesn't work. An obvious contributor to this grayness was the switch from wood to plastic in everyday items. So there has been a gradual decline in browns and yellows. Can't say the same for my toilet bowl, brother. Yeah, that thing only sees brown and yellow, dude. And sometimes a little bit of red. A good starting point to talk about the ups and downs of color and objects is to look at phones. Some of you are looking at a phone right now. Don't get me wrong. I love my incredible iPhone. I stare at this thing all day, and if someone took it away from me, I'd scream. But I will say, I do really miss this cell phone landscape before the release of the first iPhone in 2007. As far as I'm concerned, iPhone ruined everything, man. We were having so much fun. There used to be so many options for cell phones, dude. So much so that it was like a rare occurrence to find someone else with the same cell phone as you. My sister had an LG chocolate. One day my best friend showed up to school with a blue Motorola Razr that he got for Christmas. I wanted to kick his ass, I was so jealous. My dad had a BlackBerry Bold. Sadly, his was always broken because that guy never called me. And I remember wanting a T-Mobile Sidekick so badly, but they were never available in Canada, so I had to settle for an LG Shine. I once spent $6 to download a picture of a girl in a bikini on that phone so I could have it as my phone background. And guess if that $6 was charged to my parents' phone bill? And guess if they got really mad at me? And what, now pictures are just free to download? What the fuck, man? There was something really cool about having a wide selection of colorful cell phones to choose from, because each one said something about its owner. My LG Shine let people know that I was a horny little freak, I guess. But man, looking back on these old cell phone designs is just so refreshing because each one had character, it had an aesthetic. They weren't just a fucking black rectangle, dude. Sure, some of them were ugly as fuck. And yeah, sometimes the cell phones would just straight up not work. So you'd have to walk an hour home from your caddying job because your cell phone wouldn't let you call your mom for a ride. But hey, at least these cell phone companies were trying new things. The newest innovations in smartphones over the last few years was, hey, you can fold this one. Okay. So a flip phone? That's a flip phone. Those have been around forever. I'm also convinced that the abandonment of the home phone has done irreparable damage to society. Get a load of this society. Dude, the amount of novelty home phones they used to make was staggering. But they were incredible, dude. They were so much fun. They were all unique and silly, and it made communicating over the phone like an enjoyable experience. Dude, I fucking hate talking on the phone now. But if answering my phone revealed Kermit the Frog's naked feet, you know I'm picking that shit up. Dude, modern dads will never experience the joy of getting fucked up off a bottle of Jim Beam and then calling their ex-wife on the Jim Beam. And it's not just phones that have lost any semblance of color or creativity. Tech products in general have just gotten so boring lately, man. My friend Drew just made a very good video called Technology Isn't Fun Anymore, and I highly recommend you watch that video if you haven't already, because I think he summed up this issue perfectly. Growing up, technology was so fun and exciting, and it was progressing quickly, so anything they put out was like actually intriguing. But in the last 5-10 years, it feels like nothing has really changed that much. And the new technology they actually put out is just AI bullshit that nobody fucking wants, man. Dude, the most recent tech craze is people stealing the artwork of one one of the most beloved, iconic artists of all time by just lazily forcing a computer to generate an image. That sucks. That's bad. That's boring and not good, okay? To be fair, though, not all tech products were brimming with color and interesting design back then. So much of the tech in the 80s was just straight up beige. Like, just so fucking beige, dude. Even the original NES was straight up a gray box. And that was a product specifically designed for kids to have fun with. Tech products in the 80s looked like if someone built a computer out of khakis. It was either that or some fucking wood paneling, dude. I need that, man. Give me an iPhone made out of wood. As much as I'd like for Apple to put out a wooden iPhone, I don't know if they would. But by the time the 90s came around, computers were becoming a household item. Internet Explorer launched in 1995, and this widespread embrace of the internet brought upon a tech explosion unlike anything we've ever seen before. Technology was fun and exciting, and the feelings people had for technology and its potential were positive and hopeful. And the average age of a tech consumer was also lowering at this time. So, how did companies capitalize on that feeling of excitement and happiness as well as appealing to a younger audience? Translucent, colored plastic. Oh my god, man. This shit looks so fucking cool, dude. You ever want to kinda see what's on the inside of your N64 controller? Well, here you go. Look at all those things you can just vaguely see. What do? Who fucking cares? What's the inside of my Game Boy look like? Just kidding, I already know. Because my mom got me the purple see-through one for my birthday. And that's the most impressive thing about that design trend, dude. If my mom got me a regular purple Game Boy, I'd be mad as hell because I would have been like, hey mom, that's a girl color. But when I got the purple Game Boy you could kind of see through, oh my god. Coolest shit of all time. Genuinely, this is one design trend that I miss so much every day of my life. I want all of my shit to look like this, okay? I want my skin to look like this. It not only looks cool and fun, but like that design choice made me appreciate my tech products a lot more. You know what I mean? I look at my iPhone, I see a fucking black rectangle. I don't know what the hell is inside this thing, and I also don't care. But when I see a translucent N64 controller, and I can see that there's a bunch of shit inside of it that I don't understand, I'm like, you know what? Dang, this is actually really impressive. I have a newfound appreciation for this piece of hardware. I was about to throw this controller as hard as I could at my best friend for making me slip on that banana in Mario Kart, but I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm still gonna throw it at him, but not as hard. This clear trend of the 90s/2000s was inescapable, and it wasn't just with tech products. This was like a movement with like clear, cleanly stuff, right? Like there was a lot of aquatics, right? Frutiger Aero type stuff. This was like a big stylistic movement of the time. There's a lot more clear packaging, right? There was clear furniture, clear Pepsi. Even back then when doctors were using defibrillators, they would yell, clear! And I actually didn't know this before researching for this video, but apparently the creation of clear tech products can be traced back to the prison system. I guess tech products in jails need to be clear so people can't hide any contraband inside of the tech product. Jail tech be like,
let me be clear.
And then I guess people realized it looked sick as fuck, so they started making tech products like in the real world. Or not the real, you know what I mean? Not the real world, you know, like not in prison. That's also the real world, but it's, you know. You know what? Fuck, prison doesn't seem so bad anymore, man. They got see-through tech products? Okay, sign me up. I'm sure there's tons of millennials itching to go to jail now. What are you in for? I'm innocent. Yeah, that's what they all say. The only thing I'm guilty of is being a 90s kid. It's a sharp toothbrush you got there. As much as I miss the transparent tech trend, I do understand why our iPhones aren't made with see-through material. Inside every iPhone, you'd be able to see a little help me message from the fucking child who assembled it. But when it comes to tech becoming more boring and bland and colorless, I think the biggest changes I've seen have been on the actual internet. As technology advanced and the amount of people using the internet on a daily basis increased, as well as the dependence on companies generating revenue online increased as well, the internet stopped being a place to go and like hang out and have fun. Over the past 15 years, the internet has kind of just become the mall. It's just a big mall now. And since the internet is now the new mall, the technological world needed to appeal to a broader audience so companies could generate more revenue. And that's why you see these like highly stylized and optimized websites designed to give you all the info you need. They direct your eyes to the right parts of the websites. They force you to spend money, grab your information so they can put you on a mailing list, and then they try to lure you back in as much as they can to get every last dollar out of you. It's just the way it goes, man. In my video Video Gear Command Center video last year. I used the Wayback Machine to see what this old website for an obscure gaming chair looked like in 2002, and it was so much fun, man. The website had so much character, it reflected the aesthetic of the gaming chair, the GIFs were charming and campy. It was so refreshing to see that instead of a pastel fucking website with the same types of product shots over and over and over and over again. It's boring. I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm officially bored. And I know there's a reason for that popular aesthetic. It works. It's designed to keep people engaged and it entices them to spend money. But like, where's the sauce, man? This is a personal opinion of mine, but I think UX design needs to be eradicated. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, fuck the user's experience. How about you just make the website cool? Make it fun to look at, all right? Don't get me wrong. Old internet pages probably would have benefited greatly from some smart design, but that just wasn't on people's minds back then. And I feel like the internet was more fun and enjoyable and memorable for it. Like modern day websites feel like the internet version of a self-checkout line at a grocery store. Don't do anything. Don't screw around. Don't talk to anybody. Check out your items. Put them in the bag. Fuck off. Like, it's a fucking bummer, man. At the very least, websites gotta bring back glittery GIFs. Can we at least do that, man? Glittery GIFs of like kittens and shit. I always think about this quote in terms of the internet, and it low-key gives off like fake deep vibes, but it's also just really true at the same time, so I'm gonna reference it. 15 years ago, the internet was an escape from the real world. Now, the real world is an escape from the internet. And I have to agree, the internet used to be an entirely separate place that was thrilling and fun, and it also only existed in one corner of my house. And now it's everywhere. It's in my hand and it's in my pocket at all times. And I hate it, man. It feels wrong. It's like, yeah, roller coasters are fun, but if I was on one all the time, I'd be praying for a fucking Final Destination 3 incident. So I'm trying to balance my praises of early internet with some negatives too, because obviously early internet was not all good. Dude, one time I downloaded this toolbar in my Internet Explorer back in like 2004, and it let you like change what your mouse cursor looked like. I don't know where the fuck I downloaded this thing, but I changed my mouse cursor to a skateboard. Pretty cool. And then my stepdad actually had to factory reset the family computer because my skateboard cursor gave us a virus. Cool shit like that just doesn't happen anymore, man. Truthfully, websites used to suck, but at the same time, they were fucking a lot of fun. For example, look at this TikTok that I saw of someone showing what the Panic at the Disco website looked like in 2000. So fun, man. Looks like shit, but it's so fun. What does the Panic at the Disco website look like now?
This is my first video on Instagram. I'm not wearing a shirt, it's a shirtless jammer.
Media in general has kind of just lost a lot of its wonder and excitement, probably because we're consuming way more media than we should be on a daily basis. And since we're consuming so much, everything has kind of just lost its luster over time. Prime example, dude, I watched The Dark Crystal from 1982 for the first time. What the fuck? It was like literally breathtaking. The music, animatronics, story, set design, and overall atmosphere was something that you straight up could not accomplish today. Like, even if you genuinely tried to, a movie studio would never allow it because it would be way cheaper to just do everything with CGI. And when movie studios do everything with CGI to cut costs, the end result is usually a jumbled mess of weird lighting and muted colors. I'm not saying all CGI now is bad, not at all. It's the stuff I've seen lately has been, dude, Godzilla -1, I lost my fucking mind. I was insane what I was looking at. But CGI works the best when they have a significant devoted budget towards it and enough time to ensure that it's done properly. And I'm sure you've seen criticisms online towards modern lighting and color grading or lack thereof, especially towards superhero films. You can look back on old superhero movies like X-Men, Iron Man, Avengers, especially the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. And when you compare those to modern superhero movies, it's pretty plain to see they used to be much more colorful and saturated and vibrant. One could argue that with modern superhero movies, there's a lot of, different characters in them with different colors, so maybe it would get confusing or overwhelming and there wouldn't be a cohesive color scheme. But I'd rather have that than a dimly lit mess of gray shit that's like boring to look at, The only time a movie studio goes crazy on their color grading is when a movie takes place in Mexico. That's the only time movie studios remember how to color grade stuff. They just throw like a yellow filter over it for some reason and they go, yeah, that's Mexico now.
This is Mexico in the TV show Breaking Bad. This is Mexico in real life.
That's actually a fun, like, travel hack. I know plane tickets are expensive. You know, this economy, it's getting pretty hard to travel these days. So if you ever want to feel like you just took a trip to Mexico, you just throw on a pair of yellow tinted glasses and voila, I'm swimming in the ocean, drinking a margarita right next to a shark. Oh, there's lemonade coming out of my arm. It's not just superhero films that have lost their color over the years. Look at this comparison from the first season of Dexter from 2006 to this screenshot from Dexter New Blood from the year 2021. The one from 2006 is lit properly. The colors are perfectly saturated. The contrast and shadows are all balanced well. Looks great. The one from 2021 looks like a poo. Dexter, I hardly know. Seeing stuff like this reminds me of a meme I saw recently. Men in LA, get off your phones and stop becoming influencers. We need gaffers. These shows dark as hell. I can't see shit. It's true, man. What the fuck's going on? Another video recommendation here. I watched a really good video from Patrick Tomaso called Why Don't Movies Look Like Movies Anymore? And I highly recommend you watch that because he does a great job breaking down the key reasons behind this phenomenon. But in short, filmmakers didn't always have the luxury of shooting everything on a green screen and then just fixing it in post. That just like wasn't feasible up until recently. For most of history, like most of the things they did while producing a film in terms of lighting, costumes, and set design, it was all meticulously planned, and there was a clear intentionality behind every decision. And I feel like that just doesn't happen anymore.
Might get into post, and that room won't even be the same room anymore. They're gonna say, you know what, that window, we don't even want that window anymore. The light doesn't make any sense. We gotta reshoot this whole thing. So what do? We shoot it bland. We shoot it boring. We light it flat. We don't commit. There's a lack of intention in the way we are creating so many things these days.
But I don't want to shit on filmmakers for putting out movies that look like this, because most of the time, I don't think it's their fault. If a film's CGI is bad, or if the lighting is poorly planned, or if the color grading is lacking, 99% of the time, it's because the studio gave the production companies an impossible deadline. So these people who are overworked and underpaid, they have to cut corners or do half-assed jobs just so they can get the work done on time. And it's either they do that, or they fucking lose their job. So I understand why it happened, because if they lose their job, then they gotta sell their gray car and then sell their newly built gray and white house. Like, it's a slippery slope, man. And now that I mention it, man, I gotta talk about architecture, because what the fuck is happening? What is going on? What are they doing to us? I don't know if it's like this where you guys live, but whenever I drive around Toronto and I see a new house that they built, it's always the ugliest, most boring shit I have ever seen. It's either white or gray, just a series of cubes with a flat roof. That's not nice to look at, you know? I don't feel like that would be a home. Straight up, it looks like something I would build in Minecraft really quickly, because I'm too lazy to put in any actual work, because I want to go find some diamonds and have sex with a creeper. And dude, it's never just the exterior. The interior of some of these people's fucking houses, man, oh my god. So much gray and white, it's blinding. Every time I look at a house on Zillow, I get fucking flashbanged by their living room, dude. The interior of houses now look like that weird fucking scene in Deathly Hallows when Harry like dies or whatever. Like this weird fucking purgatory white room, right? I expect there to be a weird Voldemort corpse under all these couches, dude. And dude, I'll see all these chuggy ass fucking weirdos, man, make these videos like updating my boring old bathroom to a modern bathroom. And the video is them destroying the most beautiful, charming bathroom you've ever seen in your life just because it has a little bit of color, and they totally ruin it by making it look whiter than a fucking Morgan Wallen concert. It's heartbreaking, man. My wife and I try our best to make sure our house looks as colorful as possible, and I am much happier than I would be if my house was just fucking white and gray all over. I know my walls are white here, but wait, walls are white? Huh? Walls are white? The white and gray shit is inescapable though, man. Apartment buildings, office buildings, hospitals, banks, churches, literally anything being built right now looks the exact same, and it sucks. This may be a personal preference, but I'd rather the world around me reflect the human spirit of charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, other than a bunch of fucking boring gray cubes, man. The slow envelopment of boring gray and sad beige is very apparent in North America, but you notice it way more if you walk around a city like Florence or Paris. Nothing will make you hate North American architecture more than like an hour walk in any European city. Dude, you're telling me a bunch of dudes built this humongous stunning cathedral out of perfectly cut bricks of pink, green, and white marble, and then went on to finish off the cathedral by building one of the largest dome structures ever made without the use of scaffolding? Oh yeah, and then some fucker named Giorgio Vasari went ahead and painted so hard that he died, and then his apprentice had to finish the painting, and they were able to build all that 500 years ago? And yeah, maybe it did take them over 140 years to build that cathedral, but that's neither here nor there. Sometimes when they're doing construction on these new condo buildings, I'm sitting in traffic for 140 years. The Duomo in Florence is a pretty drastic comparison, I know. But even if you look back as recent as like 20, 30 years ago, there's a massive difference. My wife and I are actually rewatching Beverly Hills 90210 right now. And dude, every single episode we're like, man, stuff used to look so much cooler. Cars were cooler, clothes were more colorful, there was glass bricks everywhere, stores had carpets? Bring back the carpets, man. I know it's way cheaper and easier to clean concrete floors, and carpets start to stink like fucking crazy after a while, but come on, man. More and more physical stores are closing every single year because of online shopping, but the physical stores that do stay open are just fucking boring and drab and just a bummer. So it's like, yeah, I might as well just stay home, I guess. Dude, I saw the saddest picture of all time recently. You guys know the McDonald's play place, right? Big fucking playground inside of McDonald's. Ton of slides and tubes. It was actually mostly tubes. McDonald's play place is a series of tubes. Well, take a look at the new McDonald's play place. This shit broke my heart, man. That's the play place? Two little fucking chairs with some tablets on the wall? We're cooked. We're so cooked, man. And then who the fuck is this guy? The Happy Meal box is sentient now? Rip open his head and eat his organs. This is no play place, and I'm not playing. I know there used to be N64s at McDonald's, and that was awesome, but there also used to be the actual play place as well. Dude, I have so many fond memories of going down a huge slide in a McDonald's play place and landing into a huge ball pit that smelled like little kid pee. Because, you know, maybe a kid was having too much fun in the play place, and he didn't want that fun to end. He didn't want to go all the way to the bathroom and pee and then come all the way back, so he decided to, you know, just let it go, because no one's gonna find out, right? I'm just assuming. Now what is a kid supposed to do if he has to go pee in the play place? Just stand on the chair and piss on the tablet? Turn the iPad into an iPad? Like, come on. But why is this happening? Why is the world losing its color? It's a good question. Sadly, it all goes back to money. Every time. Like, actually, every time. It's capitalism. It's capitalism every single time. I saw this great example on TikTok. I lost the TikTok, but I will regurgitate it poorly. Let's say, for example, someone wants to open a coffee shop in their town. Obviously, they'd like this coffee shop of theirs to be profitable. So maybe they go online and they research what successful coffee shops look like. What do they see? A lot of minimalist design choices, a lot of grays and whites. If they're crazy, maybe a neon sign that says, "Give me coffee or I'll kill myself." But you know what? No, maybe they think that's too boring. Maybe they're like, fuck it, I don't want this boring gray countertop. I'm gonna get a bright yellow countertop for my coffee shop. So they call a bunch of coffee counter companies inquiring about a bright yellow countertop, and they find out that it is significantly cheaper and quicker to just do a gray one, because that is what 99% of people usually want. So those are the materials that the counter companies buy in bulk. Sure, they could make a bright yellow countertop, but it would cost twice as much and take 3 times as long, so it just wouldn't be worth it. So at the end of the day, the coffee shop owner is probably just gonna end up going with the boring gray countertop. The cost of goods and manufacturing has become way too high, especially with all the tariffs. I'm terrified. Okay, topical humor. And also just risk aversion is of paramount importance to business owners. So, you know, I don't blame a small business owner for just going with the cheaper, more popular option. But at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that it sucks. You know, I want the Global Village coffee house aesthetic again, man. I want Nora Jones bumping on the speakers, man. I want to feel cozy and relaxed in a coffee shop. I don't want to feel like I'm in a nameless concrete warehouse about to get my ass kicked by Spider-Man. A desaturated Spider-Man. And more often than not, you need to like spend more money to get a colorful version of an item. It's like a weird color tax. Again, I understand why that is from an economical and logistical standpoint, but again, it doesn't change the fact that it sucks. For example, I remember when I bought my Toyota Corolla back in 2019. I was test driving a white one and I really liked the car. I really enjoyed it. But to me, the color was very boring because fucking everybody has a white car. So I asked if I could get the blue one instead. And they had the blue one, but they told me it was going to be an extra $500 just for a different color. It's the same shit, man. Like, this is why everything sucks, man. Like, since when has color become a luxury? What are we fucking doing to ourselves, guys? Like, it pisses me off, man. It makes me so Makes me so mad I'm turning red, and now I'm worth more money. And trust me, I could bitch and moan all day. I can go on and on about how the world isn't colorful anymore, and I can cite comparisons until the cows come home, but I won't. Because I told those cows not to come home until they're a little more colorful. All jokes and nostalgia aside, I am genuinely concerned and sad for the future because I think this is only gonna get worse, and we haven't even begun to see the long-term effects of this. Take this article, for example, titled "The Sad Beige Aesthetic. Why has the world suddenly turned taupe?" In this article, they interview a self-proclaimed sad beige mom. If you've never heard the term sad beige before, it may be a little confusing. It basically just means something is sad and beige. I hope that helps. You'll see a lot of sad beige Christmas stuff pop up, which is super upsetting to see because Christmas is like the most colorful time of year for a reason. Christmas is so colorful and warm to get away from how sad and bleak and colorless it is outside, right? But yeah, there's a lot of moms out there that'll incorporate a lot of sad beige stuff into their kids' lives because they care more about their aesthetic than their kids being actually happy and excited about their life that they didn't ask for. It's not that 39-year-old Mina Tran wants a life completely devoid of bright colors. She just doesn't want them anywhere near her home or her children's wardrobe. You can't avoid them, says the doctor and mother of 3 from Texas. They creep into areas of my life that I can't control. You go outside and the grass is green. Yeah, man. I accidentally dropped the knife on my kid's head last week, and he got a bunch of bright red blood everywhere. So yeah, he's been grounded in his room ever since. I actually haven't heard from him in a few days. It's been kind of nice. She is an unabashed, sad beige mom, a woman determined to keep the garish implements of childhood at bay, and instead foster a sober palette of beige on beige. You won't see my kids in primary or secondary colors, unless it's pajamas, says Tran. Okay, why are colorful pajamas okay though? They're gonna be so deprived of color at that point. Every night they're gonna be fucking staring at their pajamas like a bunch of dudes at Dan Flashes. How are they gonna get their fucking color fixed, dude? They're gonna end up going to some back alley color dealer, they're gonna get mixed up in the wrong crowd and totally ruin their fuchsia.
Oh, brother, this guy
Seriously is very funny, and I love watching his videos.
Sorry, polychromatic plastic toys? Forget about it. A Technicolor playroom even? We have one play area, and that play area is also the living space. I don't want to stare at something hot pink and neon green every day, she says. So that is also a resounding no. Okay, got it. So since the mom doesn't want to look at bright stuff all day, then I guess her kids aren't allowed to. I think that's bad parenting. Straight up, if this is the hill she's dying on, how would this sad beige mom deal with other issues in her kid's life? Mom, I have something to tell you. Okay, what is it? I'm gay. Hey, that's great. Okay, I support you 100%. You know, actually, deep down, ever since I saw you kiss that boy last week, I think I knew. Oh my God, you saw that? Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. That was my boyfriend. Okay, he seemed very nice. I like the beige sweater he was wearing. I taught you well. What's his name? Oh, his name's Tyler. Tyler, okay, what's his last name? His last name? It's, Green. Green. Get the fuck out of my house. Obviously, it's fun to goof on people like this because loving beige is such a weird thing to be passionate about, but I am genuinely worried about how this inescapable blandness is going to affect children who are growing up right now. There's been actual evidence to back this up. This article, titled "The Psychological Cost of Boring Buildings," says in one case, physicians have linked environmental deprivation to ADHD in children. Homes without toys, art, or other stimuli were a significant predictor of ADHD symptoms. World-renowned designer Thomas Heatherwick wrote in his book, Humanize, "Boring is worse than nothing. Boring is a state of psychological deprivation. Just as the body will suffer when it's deprived of food, the brain begins to suffer when it's deprived of sensory information. Boredom is a starvation of the mind." Okay, skinny. A boring, colorless surrounding affects you, obviously, and this has been proven in a study by a cognitive neuroscientist named Colin Ellard. He conducted an experiment that featured sensors attached to people's skin that would track something called their conductance response, which is used to measure emotional arousal. I wish they used a different word than that. And when people in this experiment walked by a boring building, their bodies went into quote-unquote fight or flight mode. I will say that wording seems a little dramatic. I don't know if it was that bad. I don't know if people were punching the buildings or running away from them, but there was a real measurable, visceral reaction to being surrounded by boring architecture. We are what we're surrounded by, so if you're surrounded by a bunch of boring shit, you're gonna be bored as shit. I feel very grateful because when I look back on my childhood, it was so bright and colorful and vibrant. And I feel bad for these kids growing up in a fucking all beige house because they're gonna be fucking catatonic by the time they're teenagers. And not to mention the countless study done over the years regarding color theory and how different colors can evoke different emotions. So if colors make us feel different emotions, we can then infer that a lack of color makes us feel nothing at all. And not to go all tinfoil hat, but having the general population feel absolutely empty inside and totally devoid of emotion is probably the ideal mindset for them to be in if a bunch of corporations want them to fucking stare at a tablet on a wall in a play place all day, or buy every beige thing they see on the internet to fill the emptiness inside of them. I'm gonna be honest, I really did not plan on talking so long about this. I just wanted to make a quick video complaining about this phenomenon. The more I started researching this, the more upset I got. I also just can't shut up because this is frustrating, man. This is not the future we were promised. There's supposed to be an exotic fish swimming out of my computer screen right now with a huge diagram of a globe in the sky, okay? This is bullshit, and I really don't want to end this video on such a bleak note because it's not like color has completely abandoned us. I think we just need to look a little harder for it. We need to seek it out as often as we can for our own well-being. Tech may be boring and gray now, but you can always pay more for a colored variant, or spend more money to get a colorful phone case with Kermit's fucking toes on it. Logos and branding in general have become very minimalist and boring, but some companies are starting to get a little more colorful and fun and daring with their rebrands, so there is a little bit of hope. At the very least, if you want to see any bright packaging or logos, just go into any weed or vape shop. Holy shit. And when it comes to the internet, a lot of websites are boring and gray and white and simple, but there's a lot of cool websites doing a lot of interesting stuff that is very fun and refreshing. And yes, movies and TV shows can look bland and dim these days, but simultaneously, some of the most visually stunning media of all time is being created right now. Severance is a terrific example of that. That is a show that is shot almost entirely under fluorescent lighting, and it takes place mostly underground, yet it's the most visually stunning show I've seen in years. And they hardly even use color in that show, but when they do, it's intentional and gripping. They use color narratively and emotionally, and when there is a colorful scene in the show, it kind of stops you in your tracks because you're so starved of it. I just love Severance, man. It's so good. Things look bleak right now, okay? But there is hope. I don't think we need to accept this boring, gray lifestyle. They tried to convince us that frosted tips was a cool thing to do in the 90s. Together, we said no. We rejected that. And we can do the same thing now. Right now, we're all a bunch of little cockroaches that got painted over by a landlord. And in this situation, the landlord is corporations, and the white paint is capitalism. If we work together, if we keep wiggling our little cockroach legs hard enough, we can finally break free from that white paint on the wall and ultimately fall to our deaths and die alone in a pile of our own blood. But at least that blood will be bright red.
Wow, what a nice message from our friend Kurt.
Or yellow if you're going to Mexico. All right, thanks for listening to me complain if you're still watching this. Again, sorry I talked for so long, and I'm sorry if this video wasn't funny, but I just wanted to complain for a while because this is something that, you know, my wife and I talk about a lot. And like it if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. I feel like this is a good discussion that we can have in the comments. A lot of people are going to have some good opinions, better than mine. Yeah, subscribe if you want. Keep rocking out. That's it. I would stick around, but unfortunately, I really have to pee. So I got to go find the closest ball pit. See ya.